Bob Maloney from My MMA News. I'm over at Grappling Nation and Strike Therapy with Mark Khavinson. Mark, how you doing, brother?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. Mark is making his MMA debut at CES coming up in Philly, so I wanted to stop in, check out the young guy. Mark, talking to your coach Troy, he tells me your background is wrestling, so give me a little bit, tell me, firsthand, what did you do growing up? He says you have a strong wrestling base. Did you wrestle as a youth? How did you, get involved in mixed martial arts?
Well, first, growing up with brothers, I'm always fighting. I was born fighting out of the womb. But I always wanted to be a fighter when I was young. I started wrestling when I was 12. It was the only sport that was free that I could afford. So I started wrestling. Started at George Washington High in the Northeast, and eventually, I started taking it more and more seriously. And I got farther and farther. I started wrestling with world-class guys. They made me want to expand. Just from wrestling into the world of MMA. Keep my skills ever growing. So that is my background. That's where I stand. I think that's where I'm strongest at in my game.
Well, when did you start thinking that, I want to try mixed martial arts? Obviously, like I said, you know about cardio, weight cutting as a wrestler. You know how important that is. So that's a great base to get. But is there a fighter that you watched? Is there something? What made you say, I want to be a mixed martial artist?
You know what? That's actually a really good question. The fighter who really made me want to fight, Yoel Romero. And he's a wrestler, if you know anything about him. He's
Olympic level.
Olympic level. One of the few guys to beat Cael Sanderson, which is like the epitome of college wrestling in America. That was really the guy who pushed me. Like, yeah, he's doing it, I got it. Plus the beard. Any Hispanic guy that's growing a beard, we all got to fight together,
So, tell me a little bit about Troy. What's Troy been working on with you? Have you been concentrating mostly on your striking? Now, listen, submissions is a new thing for you too. So, what areas have you been kind of working on the hardest? Obviously, your wrestling and your takedowns, since that's probably strong. So, is you kind of concentrating on your striking, your submission? What are you working on in your camp?
We're definitely working on positioning for sure. We definitely want to keep that wrestling strong. Strong positioning when it comes to ground and pound, when it comes to getting the guy down. But we're definitely stepping up the striking game. The guy's going to be in for a surprise on the 17th. He's not going to be expecting a wrestler to come in with those kind of hands and that kind of technique. We work every day, technique. It's all about offense and defense working together at the same time. If you ever come to one practice, you're going to hear him say it 100 times. And that's really what we're focusing on, striking and just improving position on the bottom and at the top. Just staying strong in every position. Submissions are going to come once you put yourself into that strong position. So that's the game.
Who you been over here rolling with besides Troy? I know Troy has a nice team. I know several of the fighters on his team. They're great guys. Who's helping you get ready? Who's pushing you in the room?
Well, definitely Bart Bang Pierre. He's definitely the biggest help so far. Thanks to shout out to him, by the way. He's one of the biggest helps I have in this camp so far. Just great insight. He's been through this whole thing. Debuting, going through the ranks, going up and down. He knows how to ups and downs. He knows how to deal with the fails. Even when it comes to simple things like cutting weight, he gives a little insight that maybe I'm not thinking about. This is my first time. So I think that's definitely the biggest guy. But there's also Eric Norris is in here. Shout out to my whole team. Shout out to Crush Crew Jiu-Jitsu. All those guys are helping me get ready. Omar over there. This whole team is really helping me to improve my game, both on the ground and standing up.
You're rolling with the big man, huh? Omar?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Listen, man, respect to Omar. I don't know how to do it, but let me tell you something, man. There you go. The big man, he's one of, I respect him. He knows the game. He's strong as an ox, and he's a great teacher. I love Omar, man. So I love the team. Hey, listen, it sounds great. Now, I was talking to Troy going out there. Obviously, you've been in wrestling matches before, but this is the first time you're entering the cage. So, when you're walking out, what are you going to be thinking in your mind? Are you going to be envisioning something? What are you going to be thinking, or are you just going to be trying to block everything out?
Well, for me, I'm always the kind of guy, I'm not thinking about it. I'm going to be fine when I go out there. And then right before I go out, I get those butterflies. Crap, I had to go out there. What if I get hurt? But I always have my own little system of just letting those things out right before. I think the biggest thing is I always think about who I do it for. My goal at the end of the day is to be a world champion. That was my goal when I was wrestling. It was my goal when I started boxing. It's always going to be my goal. And I want to do it in different ways, different sports, different weight classes. So I'm just going to think about my family. Just who I do this for, what I wake up for every day. I got my kids over here now. They're over there running around working the gym equipment. So we wake up every day and it's for the family. That's what I tell myself every time. And every time I do that, I think of my family. I calm down and I'm ready for business.
Well, you know what? I didn't know you had a family, but saying that kind of tells me that you have a grasp on real life. You have a family that you're doing this for, so that kind of gives you even more incentive. This isn't just about you. It's about your family. You're trying to make better for not just yourself, for them. So that always gives you incentive. We all want to do better for our children. You know what I mean? You want your children to see you succeed, and you want them to know that if you chase your dreams that you can do it. So I'm sure that's important too. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I'm Mark Khavinson over at Grappling Nation and Strike Therapy. Troy's over here getting ready to beat his ass tonight. I know he's getting ready to lose a couple pounds. Do you have any weight to cut, or are you good?
Oh, yeah,
How's it going?
got another 10 to cut down. But
You got plenty of time.
Yeah, I got 3 weeks. Nothing bad at all. You know, I expect to be on weight a week before the fight. You know, just get everything down, hammer down the technique, and just get in the cage ready to go. You know?
Well, I know, speaking with Troy beforehand, he said, you know, you had school going on and all. That's why you kind of had to delay until now. This is your debut. Do you expect, listen, say you get in there and you're successful, are you going to be looking to get booked and get right back in there again? Is this a thing where you're looking at, you want to get 3 or 4 fights in as soon as you can? Obviously, you can only take one fight at a time, but I would never tell a fighter to look ahead like that, one fight at a time in this sport. But you're obviously, is that your game plan? Do you sit down with Troy and like kind of map it out and say, you know what, Troy, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do here. We're going to go September. Do you have a game plan for that?
Yeah, that's definitely my game plan. I mean, the first time I called him up, I was like, hey, I want to fight. I told him I want to get at minimum 3 fights or at least 3 competitions in this year. Next year, if I do well enough, I can get a belt or something, defend it once or twice. I want to go pro. So the plan is to go pro within the next 2 years. It's funny. I was in the car. I was looking at Facebook and I saw someone asking for an Abby heavyweight next week or a week before the fight. I was like, you know, I really should take that fight. I had to stop myself and say, calm down, one thing at a time. So listen, as many fights as I can get in a year, I'm going to take them, you know. It's all about improving, getting as much experience as possible, and getting the belt, the chip, and the check. You know?
Well, you don't. When you say heavyweight, you don't look like a heavyweight. What weight is this fight at?
It's a light heavyweight, 205.
Okay, so is that your future 205, or do you ever imagine maybe 185? Which
185 is the end goal.
Okay.
That's where I want to go pro at.
Okay.
You know, I always look at it as, you know, fight where you are while you're learning, get experience, and then when you're at your best, go with the guys that are, you know, at that ideal weight. That way you felt the strength of a stronger man, you felt the strength of a bigger man. You're going to have an advantage as far as, you know, the technique, and then once you get down to level weight, you just got to worry about speed, you know. That's how I look at it.
Awesome. Well, listen, I always tell when they ask me about younger guys, I tell them, you know, 2 minutes goes fast. So you know what I mean? And obviously, you're going to get out there, and it's going to be so fast. This is the first time for real you can punch somebody in the face. Because listen, as hard as you're sparring with your guys, you don't want to hurt them. So now, this is the first time for real that you can punch somebody and you really want to knock them out. So, you know, get your ass kicked in the room so you can go have fun in the cage, man. Mark Khavinson, best of luck to you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Listen, this will be the first of many interviews with Mark. He's going to be here to stay. He's working hard. You can see he's got the wrestling background. He's coming to CES, and he's leaving the cage with a victory, he says. So we'll catch you with CES in Philly, baby.